All right, hello everyone. This is Anthony Smith, and I am doing interviews with retired and former SWCC operators on traumatic brain injury and some of their major orthopedic injuries. Today is interview number 14, and I am interviewing Brooks Klein.
All right. So, my name is Brooks Klein. I retired SWCC after 20 years in the Navy. I was graduated class 3-7 just before 9/11. Then I went to Special Boat Unit 12. From there, I went to the schoolhouse for a few years as an instructor at CQT. Then I went back to Special Boat Team 12. Then it was Special Boat Team 12 then. Then I went to Special Activity 2 on the East Coast, which changed to SRT 2. Then I went to Special Boat Team 20 and finished out my career at Tradet 2 in Virginia Beach.
How long were you?
I was on a Merc 5, 11-meter rib. I did a sea line and multiple Naval Special Maritime craft. I deployed to Africa, Asia, Middle East, and Europe.
In today's interview, Brooks answered questions from the following questionnaire formats and gave permission to produce this presentation and share it openly. We covered the operator syndrome scale, the GAD-7 scale, the PLC-5 scale, the PHQ-9, the NSI, neurobehavioral symptoms inventory, and I developed a SWCC background questionnaire to get some basic information about his time as a SWCC. Okay, so Brooks was in the Navy for 20 years. He's a retired SWCC chief, SBC. He spent 19 and a half years as a SWCC operator. He was in class 37 and graduated back in 2001. He served at SBT 12, SBU 12, in SWC. He was at CQT as an instructor. He went to SBT 20, SRT, and then Tradet. He worked on the Mark 5, 11-meter ribs, and sea line. He did 6 deployment cycles, totaling over 18,000 hours on SWCC fast boats. He has an estimated 2.2 million wave-pounding events causing whiplash and mTBI, micro-concussions. And he does not have a history of contact sports. So Navy SWCC is a special class of elite naval warriors who have been a decisive force behind some of America's most important secret missions. Special boat operations have unique and often deadly challenges due to the combination of operating powerful, sophisticated machines designed for speed and stealth in some of the planet's most inhospitable environments. The average SWCC career operator experiences mTBI and major orthopedic injuries over the course of their career in peacetime and in war. And Naval Special Warfare conducts missions in over 70 countries, 365 days a year. The sum of SWCC injury does not accumulate until the operator retires. Before we talk more about the interview, we need to briefly discuss operator syndrome. Operator syndrome is not a diagnosis. It is a qualitative, descriptive framework of a nexus of symptoms and illnesses, and it was coined by Dr. Christopher Free. There's a DOI link to it there, and we're going to be talking about operator syndrome and as it pertains to SWCC operators. So operator syndrome is a nexus of psychiatric illnesses and disorders along with chronic major orthopedic injuries as defined in the literature. Operator syndrome affects all SOF forces, that's all special operations forces from every major branch due to the nature of our job and our training and our deployment cycles and our high op tempo. There's a list of different SOF units right there throughout the branches, and SWCC is included in this group of SOF operators. Within the operator syndrome framework, there are many symptoms. Here's a list of them on this slide presentation. And everything in red are things that Brooks is experiencing now or has in the past. He has traumatic brain injury, diagnosed at home base while on active duty, endocrine dysfunction, sleep disturbances, obstructive sleep apnea, diagnosed on active duty. Chronic joint back pain, orthopedic problems, headaches. He has migraines. Substance abuse, slightly. Some depression, some PTSD, anger, worry, rumination, and stressor activities. Marital, family, and community dysfunction. Problems with sexual health and intimacy. Being on guard and hypervigilant. Memory, concentration, and cognitive impairments. Vestibular and vision impairments. Challenges to the transition from military to civilian life, and some of these other issues as well. So these are some of the comorbidities that Brooks has due to SWCC boat operations. Traumatic brain injury. He has post-concussion symptoms. He has been diagnosed. He went to home base while he was on active duty, and he has a VA rating for TBI. Sleep apnea. He has a VA rating. Insomnia. Some issues in the past with that. PTSD. Was diagnosed at home base while on active duty. He has a VA rating for PTSD. Anxiety, he's rated for that with the VA. Depression, rated for that with the VA. He has a lot of numbness and tingling in his extremities. C-spine issues. An injury to both feet, both ankles, both knees, and elbows. Brooks also has migraines and headaches, and is rated at the VA for that as well. He has dizziness, balance, and coordination issues, sensitivity to light and noise, severe short-term memory issues, executive function dysfunction, hearing issues, tinnitus, high irritability, and severe concentration issues. So, symptoms that Brooks experienced while operating SWCC high-speed boats. He experienced mental fatigue due to weight pounding on SWCC boats. He experienced whiplash due to weight pounding on SWCC boats. He experienced blackouts and urinating blood due to weight pounding on SWCC boats. He experienced confusion, lack of focus, and concentration due to weight pounding on SWCC boats. He experienced whole body weight pounding and whiplash at speeds of 50 knots. He experienced weight pounding in seas above 10 feet on SWCC boats, and he experienced severe orthopedic injuries due to weight pounding on SWCC boats. So, traumatic brain injury for Chief SBC SWCC operator Brooks Klein. The average SWCC logs 3,000 hours of boat time per deployment cycle. Roche did a 94 study conducted in underway on fast boats for 6 days over a 36-hour period, which totaled 8,610 wave impacts ranging from 2 to 25 Gs. Of these 8,610 impacts, 4,496 impacts range above 5 Gs. So these 4,496 5G or greater impacts in 36 hours equals about 124 whiplash events in an hour. The average SWCC operator probably endures about 124 whiplash events in 1 hour. The average SWCC operator possibly endures about 374,000 plus significant G-force impacts from weight pounding on SWCC boats in one deployment cycle. Looking at the total of this, Brooks probably or possibly endured 374,000 plus times 6 deployments, which equals out to about 2,247,000 plus significant full body impacts while wave slamming on SWCC boats, causing disastrous long-term effects of chronic orthopedic injury, whiplash, mTBI, all leading to post-concussion syndrome. Alright, so this is a summary of symptoms in the operator syndrome framework for SWCC Chief Brooks Klein, retired SWCC Chief. Etymologically speaking, Brooks is a 44-year-old former special boat operator. This right now is February 2023. He has 20 years of military service, 19 and a half years as a SWCC operator, 6 full deployment cycles on SWCC fast boats, including over 18,000 hours of time on SWCC boats, potentially causing over 2.2 million significant full body wave impacts from weight pounding on fast boats. Brooks has over 18 plus symptoms of mTBI and a nexus of orthopedic injuries. Brooks endured full body slamming, whiplash, mental fatigue, dizziness, blackouts, confusion, and blood in his urine from weight pounding at significant G-forces on 10-foot or greater seas at speeds up to 65 miles an hour. Brooks has many post-concussion symptoms from service-connected TBI and PTSD, and along with long-term major orthopedic injuries, one would expect to see based on his history of weight pounding and whiplash on military fast boats and other activities related to a SWCC career. And Brooks does not have a history of contact sports. Okay, here are the conclusions from this ongoing project. So far, I've done 14 interviews with former or retired SWCC operators, and I've looked at some of the records as well. 100% of SWCC operators interviewed so far have significant TBI exposure, contributing to post-concussion symptoms. 100% of SWCC operators interviewed so far experienced full body weight pounding, whiplash, and orthopedic injury from SWCC boat operations, proven to cause mental, emotional, and physical injury. 100% of SWCC operators interviewed so far still lack some VA ratings for service-connected injuries due to SWCC fast boat service. And in a lot of cases, the VA contends these issues are not service-connected for the majority of us because we did not claim these things while we were on active duty. We didn't go to medical, we didn't complain, and in most of our cases, we didn't know anything about TBI. Information in this presentation provides evidence Brooks was a SWCC operator on SWCC fast boats for multiple deployments, and the aggregate of data collected in these interviews connect long-term TBI, post-concussion syndrome, and orthopedic injury to SWCC boat service. Most importantly, thousands of former and retired SWCC operators suffer from long-term TBI, mTBI, and major orthopedic injury without acknowledgement or help from the VA or the DoD. And there remains a gap in TBI research on this particular peer group. And lastly, there are references for SWCC TBI and everything that I've discussed in all of these presentations. That evidence is listed in my presentation titled SWCC TBI, which is posted on my YouTube page. Thank you.